can you
Ready.
show,
I'll make a nice
show that
pilaf
again?
too.
What's that?
I said, can you show that again? Now that
Sure.
we're live on, you know, Cooking Fun with Joanna, where we're making pork with pears and ginger sauce. Ooh, that looks really good. So that is Steve and Gina already prepared. And this is mine where it's half-ass prepared. So, you know, you guys are outdoing me right from the very beginning. So
Here we are.
if you're on the electric stove,
Ready.
you want to be heating the pan already if you're on.
Already done that.
We already did that.
Excellent. Then you're
Way ahead of you.
So the ingredients for today are pretty simple. And then if you decide that you want to have a vegetable with it, cauliflower, broccoli, asparagus, whatever it is, because we didn't do that I didn't add that into this one for some strange reason. But I am Joanna Hodorowska. I am with Nutrition in Motion, and that is a intuitive nutrition therapy coaching company, so that you can basically optimize your health and performance and love your life and love your body. There you go. So we're gonna.
And we have a new addition. We have a new addition.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Mom.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Welcome home.
Good. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Now you're gonna get a nice, actually a really good combination. Who would have thought that pears and ginger would be good with pork, but it really is.
And I got the pilaf going too.
Excellent. Okay. So you want for this, I'm only making 2 boneless pork chops because it's just me. But the recipe calls for 4 of them. It says to trim them and have them about a 1/2 inch thick.
Ours are kind of thin.
And I'm probably
Already kind of thin.
You are good.
I can only get the thin cut one, so.
Okay, so if you got the thin cut ones, great. If you have the thick ones, then I'm just gonna cut them. I'm gonna still pan sear them, or maybe I'll cut them sooner and do it the other way. But then you'll need some olive oil. It calls for apple cider, some cider vinegar. So make sure you have that. And I just forgot that I need to get that too. Some dry white wine. This one calls for the chicken broth. So when I was making it the other day, my chicken broth that I had frozen didn't turn out very well. I got the pears in a can in its own juice. And so I ended up using the juice that's in the pears instead of the broth. So there's another option. And then you want ginger, because we always want ginger.
Ginger.
And
Marianne wasn't around.
And then you're gonna have spring onions. That's like silent or something.
I got my weeds.
Get out of here.
There you go.
Sharon got it.
And then I didn't hear it, but and then I'm using potato starch instead of cornstarch.
Yeah.
So this is actually a very quick recipe, and I'm gonna turn my pan on very low heat. I've got the gas stove, and it's gonna heat up pretty quick. But I've got the Wegman sells these packages in
Yeah, that's what I got.
That's what I got because that's all they had. Otherwise, I was going to be buying way too much, so I could freeze it. But there's 2 ways that you can do the pork chops. Where when you take them out, we can either slice them into those 1/2 inch slices, or you can cut it in half so then they're 1/2 inch fillets. So there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's all going to be delicious no matter how you look at it. So at this point, you want to just cut open that package.
We have the thin one, so.
So you get to just sit here and just like watch us play.
Okay.
Because it is really playing with this packaging, which is a total PIA. Because you're actually putting the spring onions in later. So right now, I'm gonna try taking my big, call it a butcher knife, But I'm gonna.
All right, Michael Myers.
Pardon me?
I said, okay, Michael Myers.
Yeah, that's me.
It's a big ass knife there, Joanna.
Big ass knife, and it's gonna cut this big ass piece of pork.
I'm not coming to your house again. Screw that shit.
You will come to my house and like it. But we're gonna
Might
cut
walk
that in
in, but-
half so that you can have those thinner slices. Okay? And if you want to trim some of that fat, now's the good time to do that too. But being that I like to be on the lazy side, I'm gonna forego that part because it's gonna take too much work. So I'm gonna take the other piece and do the same thing and cut that in half. Go ahead and put the, if you're using some ghee, put the ghee and the olive oil. We're gonna put that in the pan. Let that heat up a little
We're
bit.
gonna put some butter in here too.
I always like putting a little butter or the ghee just to give it a little buttery flavor. Because everything just tastes better that way.
You can make this into-
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna put a
You know, it sounds
tablespoon
like
of that
pepper
in.
frozen.
She's doing the recipe and we're just kind of following her. She's eating and we follow.
oh, maybe we are.
They're frozen.
Okay, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of the olive oil in here as well.
Good.
We're not on.
Everybody's on. Oh, you guys, you disappeared.
There you go.
I'm gonna make sure that the pan is coated.
Hold on, I hear any sound.
So sometimes you have to kind of swirl it around and shake it, and then you look like a, you know, like a fancy chef. That's what they do. And we're gonna put a little bit of salt and pepper onto the one side of the pork.
That was the dumbest thing.
All right, what are we putting on there? I'm sorry, I lost sound for a second. What are we putting on the pork?
You're putting a little bit of salt and pepper on it.
Salt and pepper. All right, Harvey. Salt and pepper.
Does it have to be that Celtic
Onto
salt?
the pork. What?
There you go.
Does it have to be the Celtic salt?
We got it. Put it on.
I'm gonna put that pork right into the pan.
Roll it all up.
I won't put
Generous.
too much.
So it should look kind of like that. And it should be at a medium-high heat. I'm gonna go wash my hands and wash my knife because we've gotta chop the ginger and the onions. And actually, I'm gonna wash my cutting board too. Because we don't want pork, raw pork on our vegetables.
Okay, get rid of this one. You ready to cut some onions, Harvey?
No, I don't cut onions.
So the spring onions aren't strong like the leeks and the regular onions. So you should be fine. So we're gonna take here's the ginger, and we're gonna actually cut them into smaller strips. So you're gonna cut an inch off of this. If you like ginger, you could actually add more, but you're going to cut them into teeny little strips. So what I would suggest is stick it on the end and cut a third of it off. And then in half. Can you see what I'm doing? And then, well, this isn't good. You're gonna actually have to cut it into smaller little strips here. But you're gonna just julienne it and cut it into these little strips. And my strips are not that little. It's all gonna be good either way. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the other piece. And if you wanna dice it, you can do that too. There's really no proper or improper way of doing it.
and you don't cut, you can fold it back.
And then while you're doing that, and it's kind of browning away, you can check on the pork, but I want you to cut the ends off the spring onions, because you don't want the roots. You just want the rest of it. And you're gonna cut this into, you're actually gonna slice down the middle on the bottom end where the whites are. And then cut this into about 1 inch pieces.
She went to some low heat or high heat?
What? No,
I
you need it on high heat.
High heat.
High heat. So now you're cutting the onions into 1 inch pieces. And these are spring onions. If you only had a leek, you could use that. You're gonna take a handful of the ginger or a pinchful and drop that in with the pork.
Are we using the whole onion?
You're gonna be using the whole bunch of onion.
I know that, but the whole stalk?
If you're using if you're doing the 4 pork loins, then yeah, you're gonna use the whole bunch.
Okay.
Since I'm only doing 2, I'm doing half the bunch. I'm halfway, you know? And I'm gonna move you over to the closer to the range so you can see what I've got going here. And I need another pork. So you want to brown the pork. And right now I just tried to brown it. It's not quite ready. So I'm gonna let it sit there a little bit longer and turn the heat up a little bit more because I want these actually browned. Then while you're doing that, I want you to also take a handful of the spring onions and put them in here. Actually, put all the spring onions in.
Put all the onions in?
You're putting all the onions in.
Sorry, Barb, what?
And you're putting all the rest of the ginger in too.
Scatter the ginger around.
And then you're gonna let that sit for a little bit longer. I raw apple cider vinegar. Okay, so now my pork is browned enough on the one side, so I'm gonna flip it over.
Very good. You want to make sure that the heat is pretty high. It's high.
Okay.
I smoked 2 pipes with it. It's high.
No, right. All right. And then just kind of throw the onions in there just to make sure that they're there in place. And this is the boring part. You gotta just wait.
They said the ingredients there.
While you're waiting, if you've got the canned pears, like I did, then you want to open the can of pears.
Already did that.
Mine conveniently has a little tab, so I can just pull the lid off. And then I'm going to use a strainer and pour all the pears in there. What do with pears is you're going to use actually half of it, so it's only going to be
No juice?
basically 1.5 pear heads, and you're going to cut them into 8s.
They're already sliced up.
Or actually, you're cutting that into 4. So each half you're gonna cut into four wedges. That's the easy part. So it should be just these four. Can you see? It's just 4 pieces. I mean, it's 8 pieces, but it's 2. Add more if you want to, because they're pretty small.
Already cut and sliced.
So,
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna
Here's
check
our
the heat
pear.
on the other side, and it's starting to get there, but now all the juices are starting to flow.
Here's our pears. What do you want us to do with them?
They're already sliced. I think we're good.
Here's our pears. What do you want me to do with them?
You're just slicing them into quarters. You see?
Yeah, we didn't
It's
get
like-
half, so I think we're good.
We already got them sliced.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
so wait.
into quarters, into 4 pieces.
Yeah.
We have that.
Yeah, we have that.
And you don't have to do anything more. That's it.
Okay.
So now you're gonna take a tablespoon of the apple cider vinegar and pour that in. You're going to take half a cup of your dry white wine
Three.
and turn it on a slightly higher, increase up the heat and put the white wine in there. You're gonna a little bit of that white wine in a side cup, because that's where you're going to put the cornstarch, which is going to be what thickens this whole thing. Make sense?
How much white wine?
Quarter cup?
Half a cup.
Half cup. All right, so we're gonna do.
Half a cup.
It's good. I'm just there helping.
And then I'm using the wine to dissolve the
This is an easy.
the
The re-
potato
with the
or
rest-
cornstarch,
does-
whichever one you have.
Does the
And
rest of the wine
using-
go in that little cup with the cornstarch?
You're only putting like I don't know, this is probably a third cup into here with the tablespoon of cornstarch.
It's my lid.
What?
Barbie just disappeared.
That's
Oh,
apple
the
cider
chicken.
vinegar.
Yeah,
That's the
chicken
chicken
stock.
Senator got me. Holy shit.
How much cornstarch is it?
You're doing a tablespoon of the cornstarch.
Spoon.
What are we doing with the chicken stock?
With the 2 tablespoons of the wine.
What are we doing with the chicken stock?
You're actually not going to use chicken stock in this one.
Oh.
I know
Oh,
I
you're
said you were
using
going to, but I'm going to pour a little bit of this pear juice into mine.
You know, if you take a little bit of the pear juice instead of
Yeah,
don't use the whole thing, because you use the chicken
just
stock.
going to
already.
let it simmer there on high heat.
Did we
Let
put
it
the
just-
pears in yet?
No,
Yep,
she
you're
said
putting
that-
in the pears now.
She said just keep them around.
Oh, we're putting them in now.
Wait, Joanna, did we add the cornstarch mixture yet?
No,
Okay,
no, you've just got that on the side.
okay, so
If
stick
you
my
want to
slurry on
dissolve
the side.
it, you want to make sure that it's completely dissolved.
Yeah,
Once you add it into the hot liquid, it can solidify.
And the pears go in where?
Now, they just go in. Now that I've got it looks like I've got way more than I ought to. I want to cut more pears into it, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna put one more half in here.
All right.
Just for aesthetics.
we have more than.
So this is what it should look like.
Keep going, kid.
That's what it should look like. And it should
All of it has left the
Okay.
building.
Yeah, just let it, then it'll soak up the rest of it.
Now you got all of it?
Yep.
All right. And pretty darn tasty at this point. But the cornstarch or the potato starch is what's going to thicken it up so then it looks like sauce. We've got to let it kind of simmer here for a little bit and let some of the liquid evaporate. So we'll do that for another 5 minutes.
I do it, Steve.
And if you want to add more, you know, ginger, salt and pepper, and anything like that, you can do that now. I don't know about you guys, but it smells really good on this side.
Yeah, it does.
Really, really good. So we're gonna give it another 5 minutes. Because with the pork, you can still see some of the pink. So another thing you could also do is flip them over if you want. Which is what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna flip my pieces of pork.
We doing, Mom?
This is one of the meats that you definitely have to make sure that it's fully cooked. And then if your pears are trying to jump out of the pan, stick them back in into the liquid. Because otherwise they're cheating, and they won't get the flavor. If you're making some kind of vegetable, now would have been a good time to actually steam the cauliflower or the broccoli or something like that. And if you're making rice pilaf, you should have already, or rice, that should already be cooking too. So I'm gonna give it another minute. And then we're gonna put the diluted cornstarch into it. You'll see, like even if I put in a little teaspoon of it, it starts to thicken it. Kind of the coolest thing. But we want a little bit more of that to evaporate. You're gonna cook the hell out of it, right? I think this is the part that's kind of boring, you know, you just watch. You watch and wait, watch and wait, watch and wait. So then what do I talk about, right? But I made this the other day and it was actually really, really good. And I think I put too much ginger in it, but then today it's like I didn't put enough in. All right, so now it's time to add the potato and the cornstarch. And I would say drizzle it in. And then mix it a little bit. Drizzle some in and then mix it a little bit. And you'll see that it starts getting to be a thicker sauce. I don't know if you can see how it's getting saucy over here.
Very saucy.
Yeah. It becomes saucy and thick instead of being this liquid, transparent liquid, you know? So keep pouring some of that in and mixing it together. And you'll see that it just starts to thicken that into a sauce, which is what we want. All right, and then I'm going to turn that heat down. I don't know if you can see how mine is now thicker. It's like, so when I move it over, it's actually thick. It's not a runny sauce. So that's what the cornstarch and the potato starch does, is thicken it so it's more of a sauce instead of a runny liquid. Make sense?
Yep.
How's everyone's looking?
Good, good.
Good, good, something good.
Is yours becoming a sauce now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a lot of people, so I got like 3 pans going here.
Yeah. Mike, I need to send one of them over here. I'll share. At least, you know, you make it once.
What?
You only have to make it once though, and just put it in 2 different pans.
Ah,
All right. I don't know about you, but mine looks like it's pretty much done. It's a nice thicker, it's a thick sauce. It almost looks like a glaze now. Then I assume that the pork is cooked. Thinner pieces. Anybody else ready to try it or no?
I don't think I'm ready.
Not quite? Well, I'm gonna take one out of here. I should probably use the spoon to get the pear and the sauce and all the spring onions.
Knives on the table.
Lost the fork. But this is what mine looks like. And like I said, yours should look, whoops, accidentally
Like
went to
this?
the wrong place.
Voila.
So yours should look kind of like that, where it's saucy. It's thick.
Yeah.
And it's a thick cream.
Don't you get saucy with me, Bernays.
Right.
ha, 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 ha,
I do know that reference.
ha.
Gina says it to me all the time.
But you know, that was one of my favorite lines. You know, don't be so.
That's like one of the best lines.
But you know, then there's other parts where I don't think I want to have that on video.
Yeah,
But I still
definitely not.
still do
Definitely
that
not.
Monty Python skit where they have, you know, who are you? I'm the king of whatever. And it's like, I didn't vote for you.
Yeah.
Vote for your king. And now I'm going to use my big ass knife because I didn't get a smaller knife. And I'm going to take a bite of my finished or ready-made pork. And it looks pretty darn good. I'm gonna make sure I have a little piece of the onions and the pear in my bite. I'm gonna try it. And I have to say, it's pretty darn delicious. It's a nice flavor combination because there's definitely some zing in it, and there's a little bit of sweetness and tangy to go along with it.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah.
Good to be the king.
It's good to be cooking, exactly. I think it's something that I think what would go really well with this would be like cauliflower.
Yeah, I made rice pilaf.
Yeah, and you could do cauliflower pilaf. That would be nice
Yeah.
too sometime down the road, where you can combine the rice with the cauliflower rice.
Yeah, which I've been thinking about that. And then I made I had broccoli slaw from yesterday that I made. So I did broccoli slaw with raisins and dried cranberries.
Nice.
Yeah, with a
Yeah, I think it'll be a good
like a
combination with this.
balsamic vinegar.
Nice. I think that'll complement it really nicely.
Yeah.
But you could definitely do some kind of pasta, rice pilaf, cauliflower rice. There's a lot of things. You could probably even do potatoes with it too if you wanted. Shannon, how's yours coming along?
It's still cooking.
Okay. Is it getting almost ready?
It's close.
And then that's Shannon. She's
I'm making rice. I'm making cauliflower too.
Really good. Our next one's going to be a potato skillet. Our next recipe on I think it's July 9th. I can't remember if it's July 7th or July 9th. Is going to be chicken and potato skillet with greens.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Would you want a beef recipe too, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I think I found one. Oh, that looks really good.
Yeah. I just found mom had dried cranberries at her house, so we got those too.
Excellent.
Can add them next time.
I think you could probably add cranberries into this one if you wanted to, but I think it's better in the salad.
Oh yeah, and the salad and then the broccoli slaw. And I like how they have the broccoli like already shredded. So
One less thing to chop, right?
yeah, exactly.
You got to make it easy. That's a lot of times where people are like, oh, chop a head of cabbage. I'm just gonna go buy a bag of coleslaw. It's shredded cabbage. It's
Exactly. It's just as easy.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. It just depends on what kind of dressing you want to put on it. And I tend to like putting on a ginger balsamic dressing on it.
Right.
Some chickpeas into it, and sometimes some raisins or cranberries, and maybe walnuts. And then while I have my side dish. And I probably should have done that for today, but I didn't think of it until just now. So.
And as soon as you think of it after.
Yeah, and sometimes I have these things in my refrigerator, but today is not that sometimes. Today is when I only have broccoli, and I didn't think broccoli would go with this. Broccoli would overpower it. And Steve has the right idea. Pour a glass of wine.
No, it's not water. It's apple pucker.
We think so.
Well, it looks like wine.
Steve doesn't do wine.
Okay. So is it a cider?
What's that?
Is that a cider then?
No, it's a liquor.
Oh, okay. Not familiar with that one. But a Gewürztraminer would be a good one if you liked wine. All right, Shannon, is yours ready yet?
Me, Tegan. Hi, Tegan.
Hey, Tegan, are we almost ready to eat and give give feedback on whether it was good enough or not?
Yeah, let me taste this. Hold on a second. Tegan, you ready to taste?
Bon appetit.
Yeah.
That is good.
Look, there it goes. And I gotta put the
That
pears.
is really good.
It's a great little combination, isn't it? Like, I didn't think that I thought it was kind of exotic and weird, but it's really quite delicious.
Yeah, it's good. You wanna try
Yeah,
it?
it's good.
Excellent.
It's not that hot. Tegan's afraid of heat.
No, it's not hot spicy, but it might be hot temperature-wise if it's coming straight out of the pan.
Here you go, Harvey. Try it.
No, it's not spicy at all.
No, I think it's got a nice little blend, and I think, you can play with how much ginger you put into it. The other day, I put a little bit too much ginger, so that's all I could taste was ginger.
I mean, like
Ginger.
when I made my J shake with 3 times as much ginger as I needed.
Yeah, right.
That's all I could taste.
Much, but it definitely was a little bit too much.
And that's all I could taste was the ginger.
On that
Right.
lottery, won $500.
And I thought it was the copaiba, and here it was the ginger. That's what I realized.
Yes,
How much
we
you
do.
put in?
That's each.
Very good.
Very, very good.
So thumbs
Yeah,
up.
it's awesome. Thank
Thumbs
you.
up by everybody.
Yep, definitely.
Excellent. So our next class is, like I said, it's potato chicken skillet with greens. And because today is the 23rd, that means the next cooking class is on July 7th. Same time, same back channel. And
Okay.
yeah, invite more people, tell more people. And if they miss it, they can always watch the replay because I'm going to upload it onto YouTube, onto my Nutrition in Motion. It's actually Joanna Hodorowska, Nutrition in Motion channel on YouTube. So that in case you want to do this again, it'll be there. And I'm going to put these also on my website, which is www.nutrition-in-motion.net or nutritioninmotion.net. And I will be posting them as blog posts under the recipes so that people can find it easier.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So when somebody says, oh, how did you make that? Then you can either find it on my website or find it on the YouTube channel. Okay?
Alrighty.
Perfect.
Thank you for joining us again, joining me, Joanna Hodorowska, with Nutrition in Motion for Cooking Fun with Joanna. I hope you had fun as much as I did.
We did. All right.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Here, are you putting it on those things?